Hello guys, uh, after a long time I am coming again for another tutorial of Vray and 3ds Max. Here we are using HDRI lighting, and some people are confused about HDRI lighting. About means, can we use other lighting source which with HDRI, or simply only we can use only HDRI lighting? So we will discuss and see here in this tutorial. So let's get started. So this is the basic room structure. I have to delete this lighting. So we have 4 windows. For HDR lighting, we really need big windows or open space if we are using interior HDR lighting, because more light gives more good effect and illuminate the scene very well. So let's see the camera. I have 2 camera. Let's see one camera. First camera. First of all, I have hide the roof, unhide the roof. So unhide all. Click C for camera from the keyboard, and okay, this is the scene. This is the first camera, and this is the second camera. This one is a little bit closer to the chair here, and this one is little far. So this is the good setup, and right now I don't have any light in this scene. So let's see the basic setting. Before we started this tutorial, what are the basic settings for a lighting? What I am doing, what my lighting settings. First of all, discuss at first. uh, Customize preferences. See the gamma. Default, it's enabled. Turn it off. We don't need gamma right here. Okay. And if these are checked, uncheck them. Press OK. Then go again, customize unit setup. Maybe you use some other metric units like centimeter, meters, kilometers, or inches, like US standard or whatever. I use metric, millimeters, and system unit I use millimeters. If this is inches, I don't know you guys comfortable with it, but I use millimeters. So okay, these two basic settings I doing before modeling and lighting. So, and what are the render settings, we will discuss it later. And right now I'm going in rendering tab and check the render setup. Now in render setup, I use I want to erase all the render settings, so I use scale and render to go to make V-Ray on its default render. So I'm using V-Ray next. Now it's on default setting of V-Ray. So these are the settings. In image sampler we use bucket, we don't use progress. Image filter we can use Lencause or Catmull room for sharpness. Lencause is not that sharp, but it's look good. And in bucket image sampler these are the default settings, and you can change it from here. You can change the bucket size. We'll discuss, we'll do it that later. And in global DMC, this is the default setting. Right now I am not change it. In environment we don't need any environment, and in color mapping this is the default Reinhardt. When we do a very bright scene, we use Reinhardt, and when a normal light scene, we use anything like linear multiplier, exponential. But basically, I'm using only linear multiplier, and Reinhardt. We will see these settings later when we're doing lighting. That what changes I make here. Right now, it's color mapping only, no gamma. We are using color mapping and gamma later when we come here for settings again. In GI, we are using irradiance map. We are using ambient occlusion to give edges, and if the details are there, so the shadows are coming good, the details are coming good, you're using ambient occlusion. This is the default setting and we can use it by 0.5. And in irradiance map, it's default high. We use it lower for draft rendering, and we use 20 for subdivision, and interpolation samples are 20 default. In light cache, we do 500 for draft render. And what are the other settings we will discuss later when we're doing final rendering. In settings, there are nothing special, but I use left and right for the buckets when render is going to happen. And that annoying window is coming, giving you warning and something, I use never. If you feel good, you can use always that a small windows opens here telling the errors or some things. Yes, in the render elements we use only one Vray denoiser. So here's the Vray denoiser, and we go down below. Here in Vray denoiser we using mild preset. It's not very hard because sometimes there is the bumps map on the pillow or some other textures. So mild is good, and if you use default, maybe it's vanish the bump effect and suppress it. So we are using mild for mild effect, not very much. So once again, I am going to do a default draft render settings. What are the draft renders? In image sampler, use it as a default. Noise threshold, I'm doing only one for render settings. Check up 16 for bucket width, 8 samples, minimum samples. Noise threshold word. We can use it adaptive amount also one, but it really kills the scene, means detail is lost, everything. So 0.85 is good. Yeah, yes, here the Reinhardt, I'm using Reinhardt and color mapping and gamma. Burn value we will discuss later. What is the burn value? Okay, so in this I already show you the settings, ambient occlusion, very low, 20 subdivision, 20 subdivision 500. That's it. Let's hit the render. Let's see what is the rendering size here. It's big size. We have to reduce it to 800. So let's hit the render and see if it shows something. Shift Q for rendering. Okay, I am saving this file. So yes, here in the background, I'm applying a Vray HDRI lighting. Okay, by default press F8, no sorry 8 only, or you can go from the rendering environment, and here is the HDRI light, so don't use it. Let's see its effect, if we have any lighting source in the scene or not. So here is the one lamp which is illuminated the scene. Okay, so in this, by this rendering setting, you will see the lighting effects only, at how is the scene illuminate, and it will give you a rough idea. So now what we're doing, we have, see, look, we have 4 windows, and we have used what type of HDRI for this scene, which look good and give good effect. And one more thing, yes, in Vray frame buffer, right click Vray frame buffer, or from here, let's check this one, this fellow, display color in sRGB space. You have to uncheck. This is the default gamma setting which here you show, but we don't use it. So this is the actual lighting effect in the scene. So as you see the difference here, that gamma gave more lighting to the scene, but we don't need gamma here. Okay, so now we're doing a lighting setup for this scene. So for HDRI, everybody knows that we are using dome light. So in Vray lighting setting here, Vray light here, dome. You can create dome in the room also, or here outside where it's comfortable to access. So I created here in the room so I can easily access. It's like there, it's here. It doesn't matter. It not affect any scene. So here it is, and it is default settings. All multiply by this. Hit a render again. Shift Q and see if there is any change. Yes, one more thing I have to tell you guys, which is very important. Okay, this is dome, and this outside is dome environment. In option, if I invisible it, you don't see its sky. It's a dome sky. So if we make it invisible, it will not shown. It's look unrealistic. Dome light is like skylight, which we also have skylight, but dome has much more controls as compared to Vray sky. So invisible, it's look like unrealistic. So we do not making it invisible and make it visible. So now this is the scene. Yes, one more setting I will have to tell you. There's in environment, we use its default is maybe linear exposure or this thing or something else. Automatic exposure control. We use Vray exposure control. We don't use camera controls here. Default it's 200. So we make a change here by 30. Shutter speed. If you go to 20, it will open more and give more light comes into camera and more bright picture. So we do default, we make a 30. It's good value, and white balance preset give neutral. Yes, that's it. And here in this window, we use start interactive rendering. So it is very useful. I show you how. Here is my scene. I am using like interactive rendering, so you can do any change here in the scene. It will directly affect in the rendering, and you can see here. So if I increase light by 5, you can see here, right, an interactive rendering. Okay, that, oh God. So you have a basic idea about it, that how interactive rendering works. So stop here. Now I'm doing a dome light HDRI. Okay, so we going HDRI heaven, and we download and HDRI for dome light. So click on dome. In here, no map section, click here, and in Vray tab, check HDRI, Vray HDRI. It's asking for the HDRI light, so I have here, this is the HDRI which I downloaded from HDRI Heaven. There are tons of free HDRI lighting, so I'm using this one. Let's see how it is. If this is not looking good, we use another one. Oh. So now once again I open material editor, drag this one to here in the slot instance. So here is your Vray HDRI. Look here, what we have to do is two things: the rotation, where is the sun. So here, about here, it is the brightness, but we don't know where in the scene where is the sun or what is. So how we find out where is the sun in the scene and actual place? So what I have to do is press Ctrl A, select all scene, right click, hide selection, press Alt and B, viewport configuration, or you can access it from here, configuration viewport, going in background, use environment background, but it's not coming here. What we have to do, we press in rendering, going environment, press material, bring the material, drag it here, instance. It's a big file, it will take little bit time to load in the environment. Yes, it's loaded now. So, and this is the camera, or we can see if we moving around, you can see the sun is here, and our camera is here. So it's almost there behind our camera. So it is good position of the sun. It brings the shadow in, and we will check in the render also. So, and hide all. And one more thing, we will use as a environment here, means main environment our. So let's hit the render again, shift Q. Okay, here's the shadow are coming. Alright, so what are the default value of the lighting? It's multiplied by 10. We can increase it to 30, and you start interactive rendering and see Okay, it's looking good. And you see the warmthness of the light in the room. It's looking good, right? And what we'll do, we will check the position of the sun. How? Like this. Here, interactive rendering. Use horizontal rotation. Like this. Moving. And see the sun here. So at the 27, sunlight come from the window. This is good. So people asking me that we are using Photoshop for the color correction. I am not using any Photoshop. Here's the V-Rays to advance to do all the color correction. Like here, if we click on this box, show color correction settings, we will discuss later about how to make it more bright or more white than yellow. But it's look good, means it's a natural light. It's look good. So what we'll do, we increase more light in the scene, and we will do it by here also. Like we can increase the multiplier, but we can also use our camera in the render environment. The shutter speed, how it's affect the lighting. If we go to 20, 15, as you can see the burns of hair on the windows, and it's not looking natural. It's burned the window and the environment. So what we'll do here, the one thing is coming, open render settings, and we will do one thing in V-Ray. We go in Reinhardt color mapping and decrease the burn value 0.2 and hit the render again. As you can see, it's not that bright. At previous it was so much bright, so the burn value decrease the overexposure, or you can use exposure from here and highlighted burn. You can see, but it's kill the scene overall lighting, so don't use it. Use the burn value. 0.2 is default and good, and scene is looking good. So what we think, we do more over this lighting or it's look good. And if you don't like this yellowness in the scene, it's a natural light, you can use here in white balance. Default is 6500. We can slide here to make it bright. So look, we don't need Photoshop or something else. You can see the difference. Here it's look good. It's depend upon you what you want. You want a warm lighting effect or cold lighting effect. Cold lighting effect is looking good also. So we stick to here. We use white balance and decrease the white balance to 5723. And yes, here in the curve we can increase more lighting here, like this. You can see, and you can decrease maybe a little bit darker, like this. That's it. That's giving a good effect. HDR lighting, and we doing a final rendering, and we see the effect of the how is the output of the render. So what are the rendering settings for the final render? We will discuss here. Okay, the tutorial little bit longer, but it will give you good information, I hope. So bucket, it's already there. We are using Uncurse Winter, and noise threshold we are using 0.005. Bucket size is 16, is enough, and we are using minimum sample 8, 16, and 0.005 for noise threshold. Nothing else to change here. Low, you don't need go to medium or high, it's depend upon you. Go to 60, no, maybe 80, yes, 80 is good, and 40, 1200. You can increase this, but it will increase the 0.2 render time, so we don't need it here to 0.1. The rest of the things are same, nothing have to change. Okay, and I'll show you here in the small size because it will take little time. So let's see, increase by 1200 and render the scene. So it will take, let's see here, it will show us the estimated time here, how much time it will take. Oh, it's pre-pause the scene, I have to pause the video. Let's check how much time it will take. If somebody want this file from me, you can have it from me, but you have to pay a little amount for this. So you can buy it from me in 1000 rupees. Complete setup, everything. You have to tell me your 3D Max version, which version you are using. So I will send you an archive file with all maps, lighting, setups, everything. And yes, tutorial is free, zero cost. But if you need to study the file, so you can buy it from me. Tutorial is a little bit lengthy, but it's informative, I hope so. So it's render the scene. I have to pause the scene. But we have to look here after second pass. What are the rendering time? Ah, sorry for my bad English. My English is not very good. I can manage. Mm. So it will take around 1 hour. We have 5 minutes are spent and 58 minutes are remaining. So I will have to pause the rendering and we will see the final result. And you can see it's coming good. Okay, so I have to pause it. So it's now rendered the complete scene in 1 hour 8 minutes. So as you can see, the final render image is coming good with HDR lighting, and I don't think so we need any other thing in this, like to enhance the effect of lighting or something else. So we'll save this in the render folder, and the living room, and we will see the final render image. Yes, perfect, perfect image, nice rendering. Thanks to Vray and 3ds Max, you will learn something new today about HDRI lighting. Thanks guys for watching this tutorial. I will be back with another tutorial soon. Tell me what type of lighting you want to learn and want to know. Just write in the comment section. Thank you for watching this. Have a good day.